Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your monthly zodiac reading for the month of April 2025. Please make sure that you check your sun, moon, and rising in case this reading does not resonate with you. Maybe one of the others will, and that may be the area that is being activated the most by the transits this month. We are going to pull an overall energy theme. Just like always, we'll pull tarot for each week, clarify that with more tarot, as well as wrap it up with some additional oracle guidance. And we'll talk about the astrological transits. So let's see what Sagittarius needs to know for the month of April. The Eagle King, the big picture, angelic help. This is card number 12. So 1 is the self and creation. 2 represents choices and consequences, duality, balance and harmony, and relationships as well. So let's get started with the tarot. I needed to adjust my chair. We're going to go with this deck first. Ooh. Oh, I was about to split it just like I do my oracle deck. Interesting. The Devil in reverse here in the first week, which is lovely. The 7 of Wands here in the second week. The 9 of Swords here in the third week. And then the Knight of Wands here in the fourth week. Okay. So here in the first week, we've got the Devil in reverse. And this can represent recognizing and realizing that there are bad habits, bad ways of thinking. The ego can be triggered. You could be realizing I'm trying to control too much, or that it's time to leave some of these toxic behaviors and people behind. And you're finally letting go. You're breaking free from the devil's grasp, right? Realize that you don't have control over everything, and it's time to kind of surrender and let go. This is the week that we have Venus retrograde sitting next to the North Node in Pisces, as well as Saturn in Pisces. Venus retrograde has been about us reevaluating our values. Do we still value the same things that we did? And it's having this conversation, right? Saturn is bringing up this maybe some control issues, maybe where we're a little too rigid, and it's sitting in the sign of Pisces, and it's like, just be a little more flowy. Like, don't try to control everything. And it could be that is what Venus in retrograde is triggering for you guys, maybe letting go of that sense of control. The Devil card is represented or associated with Capricorn, and Capricorn is actually ruled by Saturn. So there's not a lot of structure, and there's not a lot of boundary for Saturn at this time. And so it's almost like the illusion of control, right? And you're finally realizing that that's not reality. Here in the second week, we've got the 7 of Wands. The 7 of Wands represents perseverance and resilience, right? You've got these goals, you've got these desires that you're taking action towards, and you're coming up against obstacles, but you feel confident in your ability to overcome them. This is the week that Mercury will go direct within the sign of Pisces. So Mercury, the planet of thoughts, ideas, and communication, sitting in the sign of Pisces, we could take on a much more compassionate tone. Our thoughts, our words could be a little more empathetic, compassionate, accepting, and kind of unconditionally loving. And that includes ourselves, right? But Mercury is like, I still have all of these ideas. I still want what I want. And so I'm going to continue to fight for my dreams. Now that's happening on the 7th. On the 12th, an honorable mention is that the Sun in Aries is sitting next to Chiron in Aries. So it could be that this provides an opportunity to heal your sense of self. Aries is actually sitting in your 5th house of creation, one-off romantic experiences, children, self-expression. Okay. So it could be that these actions that you're taking, this confidence that you're feeling to continue to fight for what it is that you want could actually heal this wound that maybe you have around your self-expression or even your creativity. Here in the third week, this is kind of when we have that dog pile of energy occurring for the month. We have a full moon occurring within the sign of Libra on the 13th. Full moons are a buildup of energy, and it kind of results in this peak. Kind of feels like a bubble is reaching its peak and then it pops. For you guys, let me move my little card here. Libra sits in your 11th house. So this is hitting your house of social circles and friendships. And it's also hitting the house of your aspirations, right? Your hopes and your dreams, what it is that you want for your future. There could be a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear and worry when it comes to what it is that you're wanting for your future. We also have Venus stationing direct on the 13th. So a lot of energy is occurring on the 13th, and that can cause a lot of anxiety. Now, Venus stationing direct within the sign of Pisces, maybe showing ourselves a little bit more compassion and a little bit more love may be what's needed and how you can utilize that energy. On the 16th, Mercury has moved into the sign of Aries, or it's moving into the sign of Aries. I think it moved into the sign of Aries, and it's going to be sitting next to Neptune. So this could be our thoughts and our ideas take on a very much more bold demeanor, a much more honest and courageous demeanor, but that can be triggered by a sense of illusion brought around by Neptune. Or it can be that we're much more bold with the compassion that we need to feel with ourselves or even with others. On the 18th, Mars is moving into the sign of Leo. Leo sits in your 9th house. Mars is the planet of action, aggression, war, our physical energy, our physical assertion. And that's moving into the sign of Leo. That's sitting in your 9th house. That's your house of philosophy, your house of higher learning, things of that nature. I don't feel like that transit probably going to play out here for you at this time. But we do have the 9th house, and you guys rule the 9th house. So we'll see, or the 9 of Wands, 9 of Swords, and you guys rule the 9th house. So we'll see kind of how that unfolds with the rest of the cards. On the 19th is when we start Taurus season. Anytime we astrologically shift into a new season, that is when the sun will move into the sign of Taurus, and that illuminates those Taurus themes. So Taurus for you guys sits in your 6th house. This is your house of daily habits, your house of work habits, and even health habits, right? Our day-to-day routines and the things that encompass that, the habits that we repeat on a daily basis. So it could be that your 6th house begins to be illuminated around that time. Again, it doesn't look like that energy applies here with the card that is heading up that week. Now, in the last week on the 27th, we've got a new moon within the sign of Taurus. Again, Taurus sits in your 6th house, and it could be that you're really feeling motivated to tackle things when it comes to your day-to-day. The Knight of Wands is about action. It's about motivation, enthusiasm, and optimism, and really taking action towards those desires, what it is that it's wanting, right? You feel like this fire in your belly to really do something when it comes to your 6th house, because new moons are an opportunity or a blank slate to set intentions. And it could be that maybe you make the 6th house more of a focus. We also have Venus stationing, nope, she's stationed direct on the 13th. She's moving into the sign of Aries from Pisces on the 30th. So let's see what else, what other information can we learn when it comes to this. And I just remembered that the Knight of Wands is actually associated with your energy, right? It's seeking excitement, it's seeking fun, and it's seeking out what it is that it's motivated by in that moment. But here in the first week, we've got the Devil in reverse, the Nine of Swords in reverse, right? Letting go of control can actually allow you this sense of freedom to put those worries or those fears to bed, for lack of a better term. And then the Page of Pentacles, and realizing that maybe there's, like I said, getting back to reality, right? Realizing that control is an illusion and you're focusing on the bigger picture. The Page of Pentacles can be delivers a message that you need to be a little bit more practical around how you're approaching certain subjects. Again, we're looking at, this is happening in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is your 4th house. Maybe you're a little too rigid or controlling around family. Maybe you're really worried about family, and that can bring on a sense of control. But it may just mean that right now, here in this 4th week, you realize, like I said, control is an illusion. I'm going to move these over a little bit, actually. Control is an illusion, and there's actually not much you can do about it. So it kind of helps you alleviate these fears and be like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on what I can control, which is being a little bit more practical. Here in the 2nd week, the 7 of Wands. Dang it. My perfectionism tendencies are coming out right there, aren't they? The 7 of Wands, the 3 of Swords. You're feeling confident and you realize that, you know what, you have to accept certain disappointments. You're going to have to accept certain losses when it comes to either your career, when it comes to finances, when it comes to love, when it comes to family. There are just certain L's that you're going to have to accept. Certain heartaches that you're going to have to accept, or losses. And that's okay, because you feel confident in your ability to tackle those. The 10 of Pentacles, yes, finances. So when we're looking at finances or what it is that we value, we're just going to have to accept that maybe there's more going out than there is coming in. Okay, you keep fighting, but you can keep fighting for the stability that you want. Don't give up, because this is just a moment in time, right? There's a bigger picture at play here. There's a much bigger picture at play here. So just if you feel like there is some instability that's occurring, continue to set those boundaries, continue to fight for what it is that you want, which is, in this case, maybe financial stability or just stability within the sense of self. And again, like I said, the sun is going to be sitting next to Chiron. You being like, you know what, I'm more than capable of handling anything that comes my way, can actually heal a wound that we have around our sense of self-confidence. Here in the 3rd week, the 9 of Swords, Justice. So Libra energy happening right here. Like I said, the full moon and Venus going retrograde, or excuse me, going direct within the sign of Pisces, hitting your 4th house of home, can be triggering a lot of fear and worry. And it could be that there's a need to really weigh your options, right? Weighing those options. Libra, for you guys, sits in your, like I said, 11th house. So this is your hopes and your aspirations. Really weighing your options. What is true for you versus what isn't. What's true versus what your mind wants to believe is an issue. Okay? Look at the situation from an unbiased perspective. And something that my therapist has taught me when it comes to like cognitive behavioral therapy and challenging these very anxious thoughts, put your thoughts on trial. Essentially challenge those thoughts, which is essentially what is happening here in this picture. This image is represented, or a representation of Osiris, the Egyptian god, or the judge of the afterlife. Have you forgiven yourself? Like, is your heart heavier than the weight of a feather? If it is, then there's guilt and things like that that you're carrying, and you wouldn't be able to move into a past life. But symbolically, There is something that you're really worried about. There's something that you're fearful of, that you're really worried about, that keeps coming up. And it feels like putting those thoughts on trial. Is your mind actually getting, what evidence do you have to support this fear? What evidence do you have to support this worry? What evidence do you have to support that? If you actually don't have any valid evidence, chances are it's the ego and fear that's getting the best of you. And then the Hanged One, you realize what sacrifices need to be made. And also it could be that with Justice here and with the Hanged Man in reverse, realizing that when I evaluate what my fears really are, I actually allow myself to gain a new perspective, and allows me this sense of control over what I can control versus what I can't. Okay, but the Hanged Man in reverse represents gaining a new perspective, gaining a sense of enlightenment so that you can move forward from this place. And it looks like it's leading to the Knight of Wands, which allows you to really take action and maybe even, like say, come to grips with the bigger picture. The Knight of Wands, the Six of Swords, choosing to move on, allowing yourself to move away from these fears and worries. And then Death, and that can kind of bring you to this cycle of rebirth. You guys have got a lot of major arcana. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe not a lot, but enough. You've got enough major arcana to symbolize that the last 2 weeks of the month are kind of big weeks for you. But it's you taking action on what it is that you desire, taking action on this sense of freedom, and allowing your mind to move away from what you've been worried about, allowing your mind to move on, allowing yourself to move on, brings about death, brings about this sense of death, that an old part of you has now ended, something has ended, and you're allowing it to occur. You're like, ooh, God, too busy talking. You're allowing this sense of transformation to occur. Goodness. Man. Either I am shuffling poorly or the energy is really wanting to talk to you guys. Here in the first week, look at the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. Realizing that there are certain things that you do not have control over here in the first week. And looking at the bigger picture, almost like it helps bring that into perspective and helps you realize that with the Page, and with the Page of Pentacles, when it comes to career, finances, it could be that you're waiting on an opportunity that's not going to come, and realizing that and being okay with that actually allows you to step into the space of a bigger picture. Here in the second week, take time to breathe out. Putting in those boundaries, maybe even with family, putting in those boundaries with family, healing or accepting certain outcomes, like I said, certain losses, can actually bring a sense of relief and allow yourself to just be like, okay, this is where I'm at right now. And that sucks, but there's nothing I can really do about it. And focusing all of my energy on what I can't do takes away from the present moment. It takes away from the things that I can do. Here in the third week, a new start is coming. Taking action on this new beginning, having something come to an end, and allowing this transformation to occur. A new start's coming. And this says with the new moon, so it looks as if around the new moon in Taurus, again, Taurus sits in your 6th house. maybe you guys actually step into this space of enlightenment and stop. Maybe you're not going to control so much of your day to day. Maybe being a little bit more fluid with what happens. Communication is key. Communication is key here. Now, with the Knight of Wands, be mindful of your communication here, because he can get a little carried away with himself. So just be mindful of your communication, but this feels more like self-talk. Maybe like you're moving away from negative self-talk, right? Allowing your mind to get the best of you with the Nine of Swords, allowing your mind to get the best of you and really moving away from that sense of self-talk that occurs on a daily basis. So I hope this reading helped. I hope you guys have an incredible, incredible month, and we will see you next time.